before I can actually begin to show you guys how to build a site, I want to be absolutely positive that you actually know how to use WordPress. You don't necessarily have to know absolutely everything that there is to know about it, because there is a lot to learn about WordPress, and there are tons of different ways that you could actually utilize WordPress. So the intentions here is not to teach you necessarily everything, but to teach you anything that I feel like are kind of the main parts of WordPress that you will be using on a regular basis, at least to build these Amazon affiliate sites. Now, last week I got WordPress completely set up on my site, and it's all pretty much ready to go. So obviously I will be using this as a platform tonight to show you guys, and then next week we will finally get down to actually building our website, and we're going to put together the entire content of that site over a course of 2 weeks. So after this week, things definitely begin to pick up and start moving along a little faster, but all of this preliminary learning and research that I teach, I feel like is essential steps to learning this entire process, because obviously you don't want to put forth the time to build these websites unless you feel like they're going to be successful for you. So I want to make sure all of you guys actually know how to use WordPress. For those of you that have used it before, I'm sure there will be a decent amount about tonight that may be things that you already know. However, if you've never built a WordPress site before, and I know that there are quite a few of you out there that are making this your very first attempt ever, so this should be a really valuable lesson for those of you that would fall into that latter category. Now, there's a couple different things that I want to show you as far as using WordPress goes, and before I actually get into showing you how you would go about building pages on your site, I want to talk about a couple of the ways that you can customize your sites in terms of the information that is showing up that's not part of each of your individual pages. And this would be content that's found surrounding the content of your page. For example, flip over to this live site here for you. Anything that's showing up in the sidebar over here, or down in the footer, or even your menu links, for example. None of this information is controlled through your individual pages. It's actually controlled site-wide, and that same information will then be shown across all of the pages on your website. So the first thing that I need to talk to you about is a WordPress widget. Now, if you go into the Appearance menu over here and go down to Widgets, you can get to the administration page. Now, there's a lot to look at here, so I'm going to try to break this down into a couple of main parts here for you. First, up in the top right-hand corner, now I'm using the Weaver 2 theme. If you happen to be using a different theme on your site, the widget areas can actually be different from what you see here. Each of these items listed over here are widget areas, and there's actually even more down here at the bottom of the page. So I can set custom information to be shown in each of these various areas on my site. Well, the primary one that gets used is the sidebar. This is called the primary top sidebar, at least in this particular theme. If you look at each of the items that's listed here, search and recent post, archives, comments, categories, and meta, all of this information can be seen over here on my live website as well. Now, there's actually one that doesn't show up here, and that's the recent post, and that doesn't show up because there are actually not any posts built on this particular website yet. However, if I were to build posts, it would begin to show up there. Well, the way that I like to go about building these WordPress sites is actually a little bit non-standard, I guess you could say, from the way most people might build a WordPress site, or at least the way that WordPress was intended to be used. Obviously, WordPress was designed to be a blogging platform, so it's typically going to be used by somebody who is going back to the site on a regular basis and adding some type of updated information, new posts to the site. It might even be like, for example, a daily blog about their life. So they would return every day and make a post to the website. Well, then those posts actually all get organized into categories, and I'll be going through and actually explaining my whole philosophy behind the way I like to build these sites tonight. But for now, I'll just simply leave it at I prefer to use WordPress pages instead of WordPress posts because I'm not building a blog style website here. I'm building an Amazon affiliate site, and I don't feel like the available system that WordPress uses for these blog posts will actually work good for my intended purpose here. So with all of that said, all of these default widgets that are showing up here, actually 4 of the 6 of them, posts, archives, comments, and categories, all of these actually relate to a website that would be done in that blog style manner by using posts, and posts are all connected with all of these other things as well. So I actually will go through and simply remove all of these widget items from my website. Now I can just drag one completely off of the sidebar here and just let go of it anywhere, and it completely deletes it. However, if it was something that I wanted to remove from my site temporarily, and perhaps I had saved some type of settings for one of these widgets, I could hold on to those settings by dragging it down here into the inactive widgets. And then it actually saves everything for that widget, but it's simply not displaying it on my live website anymore. But if I wanted to reinstate it, I could simply drag it back over into place. Now, if you click on this little drop-down box right here, this little down pointing arrow, you can see that most of these items will have additional settings that go along with them. Now, not necessarily all of them will, but a decent majority of them really seem to have some additional type of setting that goes along with it, even if it's something as simple as specifying the title for this particular widget. So as I was saying before, I'm actually going to remove everything but the search and meta. Now, for those of you that may not be aware of what this meta is, it's actually different links to important parts of your site. One is a link to the administration area, which is where you actually build your website. And then you have a log out link. Obviously, if you were not logged into the site, this would then via login link. And then you have a couple of RSS feeds for your site. One is just for your content, and the other one are for the comments that are on your site. And then last, you have a link out to WordPress.org. Well, on my Amazon affiliate sites, none of this information is actually useful for my website visitors. So this is yet another widget that is placed there by default that I simply throw out. So this leaves me with only the search widget for now. Now, I'm obviously going to be coming back into this once we get around to building this site and adding some different widgets in over here that I want to use on this site. But for now, I'll simply talk about a couple of particular ones, actually right here, custom menu and text, or I can even use this Weaver 2 text. These text widgets simply allow me to add my own custom HTML, which can be in the sidebar of my website. So if I wanted to add a particular advertisement that showed up on all the pages of my site, then these text widgets would be an easy way to accomplish that. If I only wanted things to show up on a particular page of my site, let's say I want to create an advertisement for a widget, but I don't want it on every page. Maybe I want to create a different advertisement depending on what page the website visitor is looking at. I can actually use this Weaver 2 per page text, and this simply allows me to specify custom text or HTML coding, except it's only getting displayed on one particular page instead of all the pages throughout your site. This per page widget is not something that might be commonly available in a bunch of other different themes. Another reason why I like to use Weaver 2, because it makes it a lot easier to be able to customize the widgets that you're building on your site. Now, the last one here, custom menu, this is actually one that you can place in the sidebar to create, like it says, your own custom menu. Just like I have here on the home page across the top of the site, I could create my own menu just like this meta menu, for example, that would be shown down the right-hand side of my page. Except instead of allowing WordPress to control that menu, it can be a completely customized menu that I have created. Now, I'm not actually going to add this to the site yet because I don't have a customized menu that I have created. So that's actually the next thing that I would like to go and show you, is how you would actually go about creating your own custom menu. Now, on this menu system, if you have ever seen this before, if you have used this in previous versions of WordPress, it might be a little different looking from what you are seeing on my screen here. WordPress actually recently updated this menu system, and they changed the way that it looks. These theme location settings down here that are checkboxes now, these used to be located in drop-down boxes up in the top left-hand corner of this page. When you're actually wanting to create a menu on your site, you can create multiple different menus here that you would want to use throughout your page. And not only can you use them in the sidebar over here, but you can also create your own customized menu to have across the top of the site right here. Now, by default, WordPress will actually take all of the pages that I build on the site, and it will put a link for them in this menu bar across the top. Well, when that fills up, it simply starts creating a second line and then a third line and so on until it has provided a link for each of the different pages on your site. Now obviously this is not very user-friendly or attractive for people to see a website like that. And since I'm building my sites completely out of WordPress pages, then it's important that I overcome this default menu setting on my sites. And how I accomplish that is through this menu system. Now, all you have to do is provide a name for your menu up at the top here. And then you can start to build the menu that you want to have on this site. Now, I don't have any pages on this site yet, so there's nothing listed for me over here. But as I add more pages to the site, each of them will show up in this list right here, and I can simply add them to my menu, and it really doesn't take a lot of work. Now, if you want to create your own customized link to add to your menu, just use this links tab right here. Simply provide the website address and then provide the link text. Click on add to menu to actually add it into your menu. Once you do that, it shows up right here, just like this home link. And as you can see, I actually already have this link created in this system here. But when you first add in a link to your menu, whatever link text you provide right here will show up right here as the navigation label. And this is what people actually see on your public site for this particular link as far as the link text goes. Now, this title attribute right here, this by default is left blank. So I actually come back in to each of my links and simply add in a title attribute. Now, what the title attribute does, when you hover over the link on the public site, you can see that the words homepage have showed up right here when I'm hovering over it. This is simply like a little tooltip for your website visitors, a way that you can use a more brief word within your menu for the actual text and then sort of elaborate on it just a little bit more. Now, obviously, for this particular homepage link, there's really not much of a purpose in it. Actually, that's just what Pat was asking. What would be the purpose of this particular link? First of all websites should have a home link on them. It's simply a link that points to the home page of your site. Now, since I don't have content built on this site yet, I simply manually created a homepage link. Now, if I wasn't using this particular menu, let me just remove this. This actually has removed this menu from being in use on my live site. So if I go back to my live site and I refresh it, you can see that the home link still exists. But if I hover over it, all it says is home and not home page. So it's obvious that this was not actually the menu or the link that I created. So this is the way that WordPress is set up by default to link back to the main page of your website. Now, obviously, you could change this text home to be something a little more relevant. I could call it Down Comforter Guide or Down Comforter Guide homepage instead. However, this link is going to be shown on every page throughout this entire website. So I don't want to attempt to do any kind of keyword spam that way. And honestly, I feel like Google is looking for a home link on a website. I don't think they want to see you using your keyword phrase for your home link. Use your keyword phrases to direct to other pages throughout your site. But I feel like for your home page, at least, you should simply stick with the default home link like WordPress normally would build for you. Now, obviously, as I build more content on my site, I can simply return to this menu page right here and add in those additional pages that I want to be linked up to this primary menu. Now down here in the menu settings, this first menu setting right here, this is actually the setting that would be used with the default menu system, where each of the new pages that I create on this site automatically get added to my primary menu bar. Obviously, I don't want this to be happening on this custom menu that I'm creating, so I want to make sure that I avoid this particular setting right here. Now, the last section of settings, this is theme locations. This actually tells WordPress where I want to use this particular menu. Now, for the main menu bar that runs across the top of the site here, this is the primary navigation. So all I have to do is click on this checkbox right here and save the changes, and then it simply begins to show up on my live site. I can confirm this by hovering over the homepage link, and it actually says homepage now instead of just home. Now, I could obviously try out some of these other theme locations, but in addition to these theme locations, I also have the option of using it as a custom menu widget. And that actually doesn't apply to any of those. You can see if I add in a custom menu, I can give it a title, and then I can simply select any menu that I have saved into this WordPress system and have that displayed in my sidebar instead of at the top of my site. You can see my home link has showed up over here in my sidebar now. So I could create a second menu to use on my site that I would use for my sidebar. So I could have one for my primary navigation and then another one to put in my sidebar to essentially act as a secondary navigation. But it's navigation that I can control where it shows up on my site instead of relying upon these preset theme locations right here. Now, depending on what WordPress theme you are actually using, these theme locations can vary. Most themes should have at least one option available for you, a primary navigation or something similar to that, that acts as the main menu navigation for the site. However, Weaver 3 has 3 different options here. Some themes may have even more options for these menu locations. So this can definitely vary from one theme to the next. Now, I want to go on to actually talking to you guys about the 2 main ways that you can build content on your site. And even though I only recommend using one of these 2 particular ways, I still wanted to actually show you guys tonight how to use both of them instead. And the reason why I want to show you both is because I'd like for you to actually understand how to use WordPress, first of all, but I also need to be able to explain the reason why I like to build my sites one way instead of another way. And really the only way that I can completely explain that is to simply show it to you in action and show you how to actually go about building content using each of these different methods. Now, the first one is using the WordPress post system. If you see up in the menu right here, post, you have 4 different links that are contained within this menu. The top two up here, all posts and add new. These actually let you edit existing content that's on your site that has been created as a post, or you could create a new post on this site. Now, these two additional links that we have here, one for categories and the other one for tags, these two links are actually a grouping system that WordPress has created for this particular type of content. Now, the categories are what you could consider a primary grouping. All of the posts that are created on the site get organized into one or possibly multiple different categories. And categories can, you could just have a standard set of categories on your site, or you could have a category hierarchy on your site, depending on how large the site is. And then in addition to the categories, you also have these tags. Now, a tag is kind of like a keyword phrase, something that might relate to other content that is on your site. If you were writing about product reviews, for example, you might have two different articles that were about different products, but perhaps they were from the same brand. But let's say that your categories on the site were not based on the brands. Maybe they were based on the type of product or something. So the brand name could be a tag, which is essentially a keyword phrase, and then that tag could be used to reference both of those particular articles to group them together under one particular subject matter. Now, in theory, this WordPress post system actually sounds pretty nice. I like organizing my content. I like creating category pages and having a hierarchy on my website to connect all of the different parts of content together. The main problem, though, is that I don't like how this WordPress post system actually works. And for that reason, I actually don't use it on the sites that I create these days. However, I still want to actually show you how this works so you can see why I don't like to use it. I'm going into the categories now just to actually show you the basis of this post system, because whenever you create a post on your site, that post is sorted into categories. Well, you have a default category on all new WordPress sites called uncategorized. You could simply create posts and put them all into this one category and not actually use organization for those posts. But then you could still create your own categories to allow you to organize them in any way that fits your website, your niche, the content you might be building. So just as an example here, I'm actually going to create a category called comforters here. Now, all I have to do is simply provide a name for this category to start out with. The next part here, the slug, this is actually the URL address that will be used to reference this particular category. I can leave this slug blank right here, and it will simply set it to the same thing as my name, except it turns it all into lowercase letters. And if you happen to have any additional characters in there that were not letters or numbers or spaces, then it would simply remove those characters. So it turns your name into a URL-friendly version. But then you can obviously specify your own if you would want to. Now, this parent drop-down box right here allows you to set up that hierarchy system where you can create a parent category and then have one or more children categories underneath that parent category. And you can even continue on from there and have children categories for your children categories, and so on and so forth. They'll really let you go as deep into that as you want to and create as many different categories as you want to. And it tells you right here that categories, unlike tags, they can have a hierarchy. So the tags that you use for these posts do not work in this manner. They are simply keywords. They're not used for any kind of hierarchy structuring. It's just a flat organization. Now, the last part down here, description. In my experiences, at least, most of the themes that I have come across and used, the default WordPress themes, for example, I guess I have not verified this with their brand new theme that they just put on the new version of WordPress, but all the other 2011, 2012 themes that they've come out with, they do not utilize this description. So there's really no point in providing this because it's not going to show up on your public website. So at very best, this might be used as a reference to yourself if you had a ton of different categories on your site and maybe you needed to write yourself a note to go along with each of them to remind you what they might be about. So all I have to do is simply provide the name of my category here and click on the Add New Category button. And this creates my category. You can see it right up top here. So now I'm actually going to proceed on with creating a new post on this site. And then I can sort that post into this particular category. And then you guys can actually see how this looks on the live website, which you could then use as a comparison to the way it looks when you're using WordPress pages instead of posts. Now, this screen right here, if you're not familiar with this, a lot of people refer to this as the WordPress editor. This is what you use to create the content of your web page. Now, this could be used for posts. If you go into the Pages section, though, you'll see that this screen looks extremely similar. There might be very minor differences here and there, but your major differences between the post and the page editor are actually going to be the different boxes that are included in addition to this main box right here that is used to provide the content for your page. Obviously, like your categories and your tags down here, these are not going to be used with the pages, so they simply will not show up on the page editor like they show up here on the post editor. Now, since these two pages are very similar, I'm actually going to go ahead and walk you guys through explaining a few things about how this WordPress editor page works and how you use it to add new content to your website. Even though I'm not going to actually use the post system, a lot of this information still carries on to creating the pages as well. However, I didn't want to wait until I got around to doing the pages because you guys might not actually know what I'm referring to here as I go through and talk about these posts first. Now, to start with, up at the top here, this blank text box, all you have to do is provide a title for the post or page that you are building. So I could call this anything I want to, obviously, I'm actually going to get into talking to you guys more next week when we start to build the content for the site about how you might actually want to title the different pages on your site. So the intended purpose here is not to actually teach you about all of that today. It's more or less to teach you about the entire functionality of this WordPress editor system. So I'm simply going to provide a title for my page up here. Now, in this box right here, all I do is provide the content for this particular page. And I could put anything I want to in here. For the purpose of this tutorial, though, I'm just going to put in something pretty short and sweet because the intended purpose here is simply to show you how all of this actually works. So I can just say, here I will add the content and other information about this product or subject. Obviously, I could continue on and write all kinds of other content here. But what I want to show you is some of these special features within WordPress. First of all, you have two different tabs up here that you're using to build this content in. One says text and the other one says visual. Now, text is actually the screen that you would want to be in, or the tab that you would want to be in, if you needed to add some type of HTML or CSS coding to this particular page. So this shows you the actual HTML that will be outputted on the website, whereas the visual tab over here, it shows you more of a visual representation of what this particular page is going to look like, or at least the content that is contained within this page. Now, you might also notice that up here at the top you have these different toolbar options. And when I changed my tab over here, these options actually now look different than they did before. It's actually pretty much the same thing, though. These are simply redone to make them a little bit more understandable for those that might not know any HTML coding. So if you want to take advantage of these to help to add a little bit of extra styling to your page, all you have to do is select some of your content and click on a button up here, and see that will make your text bold. And then if I flip over to the other tab, you can see that it doesn't show me this text being bold right here. It shows me the word content, and then it has the HTML tag wrapped around it that actually causes it to get shown as bold text. So for those of you that are comfortable with HTML, you can build your pages here in this text tab and get really creative with the way you actually go about building your site content. However, if you're not familiar with HTML or simply not comfortable with it, you can still use the visual tab and let WordPress take care of the complicated stuff for you. Now, obviously, WordPress doesn't do everything that you could do with HTML coding if you actually know it. However, they offer at least some of the basics up here that you can use. Now, in addition to these tabs, you have this Add Media button. This actually allows you to upload images or videos even to this web page and directly show it within your content here. And you don't have to go to your control panel or open up FTP for your site to upload your images and then write out the HTML coding yourself to show those images. All you have to do is upload it and insert it into your page through this media system right here. Now, my intended purpose is not to show you this media system, but it's actually pretty straightforward. All you do is just select a file to upload, and once it uploads, you can simply insert it into your post. They have some different options there as far as that media system goes. One of them I'll go ahead and skip over to. All the way down here in the bottom right-hand corner is the featured image. If I set an image, upload one for this particular post, and then I set that particular image as the featured image of this post, then when there is a listing of the different posts that are available, say, in a particular category, then it will show a thumbnail of the featured images alongside of the title and a short excerpt from the post content. Now, obviously, since I'm not using the post system, the featured image is really not something that I commonly end up using because it doesn't work the same with the pages as it does with the post. However, the add media, just simply being able to upload images or videos directly to your page, is definitely something that I use on a very regular basis. And so I at least wanted to point out that and some of these basic HTML controls for you here that WordPress makes available for you. Now, I'm going to continue scrolling down this page and talk about a couple of other sections of information that are available here. The first one of these is the SEO settings. This is actually a section of settings that only exists on this WordPress site because of the SEO plugin that I installed, Ultimate SEO. So this allows me to set a title tag for my page. However, I usually don't end up specifying a title tag right here because the plugin will automatically create the title tag for me based on the title that I provide for my post up above. However, this meta description, this is actually the content, the little sentence or two worth of a summary that shows up in a search engine when somebody sees this particular page in the search results. Now, it's not guaranteed that this exact description will get used. Sometimes Google will pick other relevant text out of a web page to show as the description instead of this default meta description. However, it's still good to go ahead and set this information on each of your pages. There are a couple of other tabs available here. This social networks listing tab, this is really useful if you are planning on trying to market your site through social networks, or at least partially. If you plan on referencing pages on your site on Facebook, or maybe you'll be going for trying to get other people to share your pages on their Facebook accounts. This social networks listing tab is really important to fill out because this will actually control the default information that shows up for that particular post when it shows up on the social network itself. So Facebook will actually pull this title and this description and this image URL and actually use that when that post is referenced on their site. So if you have plans to do anything social networking related with these sites, make sure you are providing this information right here. Now, in addition to this, this miscellaneous tab right here, I simply wanted to point this out just in case you plan on building a page of your site that maybe you don't want to share with everybody. this does not restrict access to your page at all. However, this no index box right here can actually help to stop search engines from indexing the page, which will obviously help you to keep other people from finding that page unless you specifically provide a URL for them. So if you have something in particular, hey Rhonda, how are you doing? Disappeared for a little while there, or you just showed up tonight. So this no index option right here, and oh, that's right, tonight was your anniversary. Happy anniversary and happy birthday to. I know one of you guys has a birthday out there tonight, and one of you has a son's birthday tonight as well. Happy birthday to you, Mike. Happy birthday. I remembered. You're welcome. I hope you had a nice anniversary dinner tonight, Rhonda. These meta robots tags right here, they're not something that you have to use on all of your pages. Again, this is just something that, for example, let's say if you were planning on creating a newsletter for your site, and maybe you had a special page of content on your site that was only for people that joined your newsletter. Well, you could attempt to stop non-newsletter subscribers from getting access to that page by simply hiding it from your search engines. So people wouldn't be able to see that page listed in search results, which obviously it's not surefire protection to keep people off of a page that maybe you don't want to be there. But for something simple like offering some free content or free bonus information to people that might sign up to a newsletter on your site, you know, when you're not actually selling something, this is a really easy way to go about it. Yes, this is for each individual page, Mike. Whichever post or page you're on, this prevents this particular page from getting indexed by these search engines. So, you know, it is a really simple way of at least partially protecting some content. Obviously, you would only want to do this with content that, you know, it wouldn't destroy you if you figured out people got access to it without going through your newsletter. You know, if it's not something that you're selling, then you don't have to worry about actually putting some kind of protection system into place for those types of purposes. It's kind of overkill in a way. Now, the next section that I want to talk about here is this Weaver 2 post options. Now, this section of settings actually will change depending on whether you're editing a post or a page on that particular site. Now, since I'm editing a post, no follow. Oh, you're talking about this one up here. No follow is kind of the opposite. It keeps search engines from, it says spidering links, but spidering links is attempting to index a page. So, for example, if, let's say you have one page of your site that has links on it, but you don't want a search engine to be able to follow those links and then index the content of the pages on those destination URLs, then nofollow is the same as creating a single link on your page that would be a nofollow link, like where you have your website address here, and then you simply add the nofollow tag. This would be Obviously, this isn't a full website address here, but this right here where you're setting a particular link as a no-follow link, which is something I actually recommend to do for affiliate advertisement links. This simply prevents the search engines from following those links and attempting to index that additional content that you're linking to. Now, the reason why you want to do this, it's not like there's anything actually stopping, say, Google from going and checking out the content of your no-follow links. If you're trying to hide the fact that they are an affiliate link or something, I really don't think it's worth it because I think Google can still figure it out either way, whether you're using no-follow or not. So the actual reason that I use it is simply to keep the ranking power on my page. I don't want to transfer some of the ranking power from my particular page over to, say, Amazon's product page. So keeping the no-follow tag on a link will prevent that from happening. However, if you're using it down here, this no-follow, this will apply to all of the links on that particular page. And that may actually not be what you want to happen because some of those links might be to other pages on your own website. So in most cases, at least, I do not recommend using this no-follow option whatsoever, unless you have a really, really specific reason to do so. Now, these different Weaver 2 options that are available, obviously this is only here because of the theme that I am using, Weaver 2. It simply allows you to have a little bit of control over what is going on this particular page. You can, for example, if you have ever attempted to go to a web page and copy a large amount of HTML coding or JavaScript coding, let's say, for example, you're setting up a newsletter subscription page, and you're copying newsletter coding from Aweber into your WordPress page. You might notice that the actual code doesn't seem to end up working correctly when it is punched into a WordPress page. And that's actually because of certain types of processing that WordPress applies to all of your content. So like this allow raw HTML and scripts, this disables the auto paragraph feature, which is actually what ends up messing up a lot of standard HTML coding or JavaScript coding that you might want to paste into a particular page. So I don't find myself using this very often, but every now and again, if I have a page that I'm creating for a special purpose, this can come in handy. Now, one thing to note here, if you are using shortcodes, this is kind of what a shortcode looks like right here, except the actual content in between can be different from one shortcode to the next. All of my Amazon plugins, for example, if you're placing an advertisement within the content of a page, it is done using one of these shortcodes. So if you're using shortcodes on a particular page, do not use this particular setting right here. This other processing, it's pretty vague, but this other processing, part of that is the shortcode processing. So if you have this checked and your shortcodes are simply displaying on your live web page instead of actually getting processed into, say, an advertisement like they're supposed to be, then this particular setting could actually be your reason why. So make sure you disable that unless you really have a need to use it. let's see. That's a good question. Hold on, my question screen keeps scrolling here. Peter, by clicking on these no index and no follow links, well, the no index applies to a entire page, whereas no follow applies to links that are on a page. He's saying, does this stop these search engines from showing them in the search results, or is it still possible they will show? It is still possible that they will show. Google can always choose to ignore something like no indexing. However, according to the rules of HTML coding, then it should not be indexed. However, there's no 100% guarantee that it won't get indexed, but it should not. As long as the actual page is put on no index, then the page should not show up in search results. However, if you simply use no follow and you're hoping that the destination pages won't get indexed because you're no following that particular link, I would definitely not depend on that. There's a pretty good chance that those particular pages would still end up getting indexed unless they were set as no index as well. I'll still be getting to that in just a few, Pamela, in terms of why I don't like to use categories in WordPress. The last thing that I wanted to mention here about these Weaver 2 options is that you can use this to eliminate certain parts of your page from getting displayed. For example, on the live page here, down here at the bottom, this is the WordPress footer. Up here at the top is the WordPress header. And then you have other parts of information here. This is called the info bar. This is your page or post title. So you can actually disable particular parts of your page through Weaver, and this only applies to the specific page that you are editing here. So you could simply, hide the post title if you didn't want the post title to show up at the top of the page. You can hide like the post info lines, or you can hide comments on a particular page. So they have a few different options here, but these options are actually, they get better when you move to the page editor, which is another reason why I like to use the pages. Now, I'm moving on to the right-hand column here. I've got a couple of boxes to explain over here to you. First, up at the top of the page, this is your primary action box for the WordPress editor. This is how you publish your live content to your site. You can also temporarily save it as a draft if you're not ready to publish it on your site. Let's say maybe you're writing an article and you need to leave it for a while and come back to it. Just click on the Save Draft button. It will save it on your site so you don't lose any of your work, but it won't actually display on the public web page. Now, you could also preview it right here. So before you actually publish your content on your site, you could preview it to see how it's going to look. This gives you a chance to simply run your eyes across it before you put it out there for other people to see. Now, there's a few different other settings in here where you can like set particular content as private, which would only allow like the administrator to get into it. You can also password protect your content, where you simply provide a password right here. So if you had a page that you absolutely did not want people to be able to get into unless they had access from you for it, This is a still simple way, maybe not foolproof way, because it's only one password that you would set for a particular page. So you would have to provide that same password to everybody that you wanted to access the page, which obviously means if somebody shared the password, they could still get into that particular page. But again, if you're only using this for bonus content for a newsletter sign up, for example, and not something that you're actually selling, then this could be a convenient and easy way that you can protect content on particular pages. Now, the last part I need to mention up top here is publish immediately. You click on the edit button right here, and instead of publishing your post right away, you could actually schedule it to be posted at some point in the future. You could set it for an hour from now, or you could set it for a month from now, or even a year from now if you wanted to. So if you happen to write all of the content for your site all at one time, and you go through and start building your site, and you want it to appear to be made more naturally, then this is one way that you can accomplish that by simply scheduling each of the posts or pages that you have created. So they're not all published all at the same time. You could have one published every day for the next 3 weeks or something if you created, say, 20, 21 pages. Yes, that's a good point, Peter. Peter's asking or saying that would help if you wanted to no-index a page to password protect it. Yes, then that should not allow a search engine to actually reach the content of that page unless they had that password to access it, which obviously they would not. So yes, if there was something that you wanted to be absolutely positive was not getting indexed, a password protection would be one way to go about it. As long as it, works good with the method you might be using to share that content with your site visitors, like on the back end of a newsletter or something like that. The last couple of parts that I want to talk about here, categories and tags down here. This is what kind of ties these WordPress posts all together. You can select one category or multiple categories for a particular post. So for this particular post, I'm going to set it as comforters, and then you can simply type in your own custom keyword tags to use. So for this example, I could add the pins on tag to it. Or I could even add the alternative tag to it, since it's an alternative down comforter, for example. So you can use multiple tags and multiple categories if you want to. Now, to show you what all this is actually doing on my live site, I'm going to now publish this particular page and then go view it on my live website to start with. So here is this page that I just created. Now, did I have the post title? Okay, I'm hiding the post title here. I actually want to show that. Let me update this really quick. Okay, my post title is back. So this is the post title that I entered in at the top of the WordPress editor page. And then here is the actual content that I typed in for this page. Actually, it includes this link text right here that I made for that little no-follow link example. So beyond these two lines right here and this right here, the rest of this information on this page is all being generated by WordPress. This is not information that I have direct control over. Up at the top of the page, I have what's called a breadcrumb, and this is actually used to link up to different parts of the page in a hierarchy type of structure. This page, pins on down alternative comforter, is located in the comforter category, and the comforter category would be a main category for my site, so then that is linked back to the home page. So this is essentially the path that somebody would take through my site to reach this content. Now, in addition to that, I have this little post information line right here. It says posted on today by the Down Expert, which was the name that I provided for my nickname in my user profile. So you can see that if I hover over this for Down Expert, it actually points to a page on my site. This is actually the author archive page, where it would then list all of the different posts that were created by this particular author. However, I find this to kind of be pretty pointless and very repetitive, which is really the main reason why I find myself not liking the WordPress post and category system. You also have the dates. The date right here is simply linked up to the actual post that you have made. And then down here at the bottom, you have the category yet again, and then I have my tags that I created, alternative and pins on, and then my author name yet again, and yet another link back to this same particular page. Well, I'm going to go to a category page now so you can see what this actually looks like. On this category page, up at the top, it looks pretty similar to before. It says categories, comforters. Even though my category is titled comforters, I have no control over this word categories right here. I have no way of changing that. Or if I don't like that it shows up there, categories, comforters, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I have this word series right here, category archives, comforters. This is, again, something that WordPress is doing and something that I don't have any control over. And in addition to that, I have no control over adding any type of content to this particular page. It simply lists each of the different posts that are sorted under this particular category. And then it still has yet another category link because sometimes there could be multiple categories for a given post. And then it has the tag links as well. Now, here is another part of where it gets really repetitive. If I go and take a look at these tag pages, so I'll go and take a look at this alternative tag page. It's almost identical. You can see I flip back and forth between the two of them. The only thing that's changing right here is right up at the top. Tags alternative, tag archives alternative, categories, category archives. So depending on the way your content gets built on your site, you could have all of these different pages throughout your site, these tag pages and these category pages, and they might be almost completely identical to one another. This is identical to this one. If I open up a pins on page here, I have yet another almost identical page. Simply changes one word throughout the entire page, and everything else is the same because the same content has been grouped under this particular tag. So in this regard, I don't like the way that this all gets created on the public website. If I were writing a blog about a whole bunch of different topics and I was posting regular content, say every day or maybe even multiple times every day, then I could maybe see where after I had a decent amount of content on a site where my category pages and my tag pages might not be completely identical to one another. However, for these Amazon sites where you're only creating, say, 20 pages on the site, you're not going to really have a whole lot of variety here. So you'll really have all of these different category and tag pages on the site. There could be 10 or 20 of them for even if you just create 20 posts on the site, you could then end up with another 20 of these tag or category pages as a result, and they may be completely useless pages to your website visitors. They offer a very minor amount of organization. However, it's essentially all duplicate content. If Google were to come through this page, this site, and index my category page and my tag page and the other tag page, it would not give these pages any respect whatsoever, because it would call this duplicate content, because it's the same content on all these different pages throughout my website, minus changing one or two small words at the top of the page. So this is definitely something that I want to avoid. And if not for anything else, I would simply avoid using the post and category system just to avoid this potential for duplicate content. But even beyond that potential for duplicate content, I don't like the fact that I have no control over this system. I can't customize the content of these pages. If I wanted to add in an article or some kind of comparison chart or any other type of information to this page, say after the title and before all of my posts in this category are listed, I have no way of accomplishing that because I can't edit this particular page. This edit button right here, this actually refers to this particular post and not to the category. So there is no way to edit these pages unless you actually go diving into your WordPress theme and start editing the source code of it. And once upon a time, I took the trouble to do that type of thing. But then I figured out that I could simply put a little bit of extra work. Yes, dogcratesizes.com does use pages and posts together. However, construction on that site has continued since it has been under my ownership, and I don't necessarily agree with all the ways that additional content has built on that particular site, at least, Nicole. So yeah, I'm not necessarily saying that you can't go about using this post and category system. If I'm not mistaken, on that particular site you're talking about, Nicole, I believe that the category and tag pages on that site are set as no index, which is something that you should actually be able to do through the SEO plugin. However, even beyond that, even getting rid of that possibility for duplicate content, I simply don't like the fact that you can't customize these pages. So you're just going to have a bunch of these very similar pages that simply list the different parts of content on your site. So my alternative to using this standard post and category system is to simply use WordPress pages. Now, I'm going to go through and create another page here. This one will now be a page instead of a post. And I'm going to do this just like the previous page that I had created. And my reasoning for doing so is so you can see the difference here. So I can actually take this exact same content and punch it in right here. And then you'll be able to see essentially a side-by-side comparison of the differences. Now, before I actually proceed on to showing you the differences between the post and the page that I've created, I want to point out just a couple of things further down this page here. When I get down to the Weaver 2 options, you can see that there's a lot more information, settings available here than what was available on the post page. On this page, I can actually control whether the header and the footer or the info bar or the page title or the menus are shown. There's still the other options for disabling the auto paragraph right here, just like there was on the post options. However, there's even more choices here that you can use. This particular drop-down box right here allows you to select the sidebar layout for this page. This is actually referring to the widgets that are used on the page and how they are positioned or displayed on your live website. Now, since I've been using a sidebar, if I wanted to create a page on this particular site that perhaps I had a lot of content to go into this page, or for some reason maybe I didn't want to display the sidebar on just this one page on my site, I could simply select no sidebars, one column content right here. And then it would not use the right-hand sidebar that was used on my other pages. So this drop-down box is something I find myself using quite a bit to control the way my content actually shows up on the site and how each of my pages are laid out on the public site. Now, there's even more options down here for selective display of widget areas, and this simply allows you to hide or even show particular widget areas on a specific page of your site. This is the per page widget areas that I had actually been talking about on the widget page before that Weaver 2 offers. So this is a way you can create your own custom widgets that would only show up on a very specific page on your site and not all the rest of your pages. Now there's, again, a ton of different ways that this WordPress system can be used. You can even create WordPress pages that actually list posts under them, just like this particular category page did. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say that this is the way that dog crate sizes site is set up to show a more customized category page. Before I show you this, because I think this is kind of interesting at least, I'm going to go ahead and publish this page so I can show it to you and so you can see the difference between just the standard page. This is the standard page right here. As you can see, I still have the breadcrumb up top here. However, there's no category linked up in between the home page and this particular page. And then on the actual page itself, the only information that is getting displayed on this page is the information that I have typed in over here in the WordPress editor. So this means that I have complete control over everything that is getting displayed here, minus the exception of this breadcrumb link right here. However, if I didn't want to show that, all I would have to do is come down to the Weaver 2 options and select Hide Info Bar on this page, and then I could update the changes and simply return to my page and refresh it, and then those links are gone. And then literally 100% of the content here in this actual page, I have complete control over myself. As a comparison here, when I flip back and forth between these two, this is a major difference of content that is being created for me between this post page, which WordPress is generating all of this extra information. This post line right here, this additional line of text here, and just look at all the links that are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different links that WordPress has all generated. Well, I want control over all of that stuff. I want to control what this page is going to link to. Yes, exactly. Nicole hit it right on the head there. It's confusing for the customer too. Obviously, if you want somebody to visit a page on your site and you want to direct their attention to something particular on your page, it's hard to do that when you have all of this extra information out there on your page that simply isn't what you're trying to direct the person to. So my idea here is to simplify the page as much as I possibly can so that the content here is not only under my control, but so I can direct the user's attention to where I want it directed to, instead of them getting lost in all this other information or getting lost clicking through all these other category and tag pages and stuff. And it just simply keeps them from getting lost and confused on your site and leaves you in full control of it all. Now, the featured images, they are actually still used for WordPress pages. However, you typically don't have the pages being listed like you would the post, this category page right here. If I had set a featured image for this particular post, it would show a thumbnail for it right here and just kind of scoot all this other information over just a little bit. However, on a page, the pages are not getting listed anywhere like they are for these posts. So you won't have the featured image being used in that same manner, at least not with the way most themes are set up. It is possible that you could have a theme that was set up to display those featured images from pages. Maybe one of these days I'll get around to developing my own WordPress theme that kind of builds these sites the way that I like to build them. But at least for now, the featured images for your pages, they would only show up on the page itself. I believe it will put it up in the top left-hand corner of your page content if you set a featured image for it. So the last part of this page system that I want to show you here is something that it should exist in other themes, but maybe not necessarily all of them, but it definitely is included with Weaver 2. Over here under Page Attributes, I have this drop-down box that says Template. Well, I can select this one particular template here that says Page with Post. So what I want to do now is I'm going to select this template, and then I'm going to update the changes to my page. After I have done that, I can now scroll down to this Weaver 2 options section, and down here under Settings for Page with Post template. This section was actually blank before. All of these settings were not available. But what this allows me to do is I could actually come in here, create a customized page, and use that page as my category page if I wanted to. Now, I'm not saying that I necessarily do this on all of my sites or even on the standard Amazon affiliate site that I am building. However, for those of you that may have some kind of like or appeal for this category and tag system, but you wanted to still control the content of your category pages, this is one way that you can actually accomplish that. So what I'm going to do here is to simply enter in comforters as this category right here. So all I'm doing is providing the slug that is used for my particular category. And you have other options down here. You can choose how these posts are displayed. You can display the full post or just an excerpt or a title and a featured image. They have post columns, different ways that you can control how those posts are displayed. It's not 100% control, but it's at least better than what was used on my category page right here. So this was my original category page that I created, which then lists this particular post for the Pins on Down alternative comforter. Well, what I've done now is to create a WordPress page, except this page now acts like a category page, and it lists the WordPress posts that are sorted under a particular category. So this information at the bottom is actually all the way down through here is actually the same information that is displayed down at the bottom of this page right here, except the difference is I now have control over all of the content that is showing up above. And in fact, I have some type of control, at least better than I had on this category page with the actual post display right down here. And again, those options are some of these additional options down here. I could choose to show the full post instead of just the excerpt, or I could show the title only, for example. So I could select title only there and update the changes to this page and come back over and refresh this page. And so now instead of showing the description and the category and the tag links down at the bottom, it's simply showing the title of the page, which is then linked to that particular post on my site. So for those of you that may not like the way that I proceed with using nothing but WordPress pages on my site, I at least wanted you to have some type of reasonable alternative that you could use that allows you to mix and match the pages and the posts together while still giving you some type of control over this system and, just as far as the way that WordPress actually operates, depending on the type of content that you are using here. Now, the last thing that I want to go over with you guys tonight in terms of teaching you about WordPress, at least. At this point, you should have a fairly thorough understanding of how to at least go about creating the content for your actual website. But there's one other thing that I consider to be a really important part of using WordPress, and that is actually using the WordPress update system. if you hover over Dashboard right here and go down to Updates, on this page, you can perform updates for not only WordPress itself, but also for plugins and themes that may be on your site. You can simply return to this page. Actually, anytime you come to this page, it will go ahead and check any software that's on your site and see if there are updates available for them. However, if maybe you know there's an update available for something and it's not showing up, you can always click the button to simply check it again. And whenever there are updates that are available, I gave you guys some pictures in the guidebook for tonight's lesson, just so you can see what this page will actually look like when there are some updates available. But right here, where it says you have the latest version of WordPress, it will simply tell you that a new version is available, and there will be a blue button right here for you to click. All you have to do is click on that button, and WordPress will actually update itself. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to download the files and upload them through FTP or anything like that. It's all automated for you and done through WordPress itself. Now, the same thing applies with the plugins or the themes. Any plugins or themes that you have on the site that may have an update available for them, they'll simply be listed under one of these headings right here. You'll see a little checkbox next to each of the plugins or themes listed on this page, and then all you have to do is click on that checkbox and then click on the button that is provided along with them that says Update Plugins or Update Themes, for example. And just like WordPress itself, it will actually update all of those different plugins and themes for you. Now, while this whole system is completely automated and all of your software can get updated for you automatically through this page by simply clicking on a button, there's a little bit more to be explained here. WordPress always recommends whenever there's an update available for you, it will actually have a little message up in a yellow box up at the top of the page here that simply tells you to back up your database and your files before you actually perform these particular updates. Now, personally, on most of my sites where maybe just my Amazon affiliate websites, especially the sites that are using my own particular software, like they're using my WordPress plugins on my own sites, I often find that I don't bother with backing up my database or my files for my Amazon affiliate sites. And it's not that I don't have a backup available for them, period. I have a backup that can restore the content of those pages. The point is, if you're not constantly updating these sites, you may not have to make a backup of them all the time, because a backup from today is the exact same thing as a backup from a year ago, assuming that I haven't made any changes to my website. So all my content would still be the same. So those backups, while the information might be slightly different, obviously WordPress will continue to make some minor database changes as it runs. The actual content for the site would still exist in your backups that you had made originally. So the main thing I recommend to do is, as soon as you have completed building a site, go through and back up all of the actual files for that site. That would be everything in the public HTML directory. And in addition to that, then make a backup of the database. You need to make sure you get the entire database that is created by WordPress and all the information included in that database. And then you can restore a WordPress site simply from those files and that database information. Now, let's see. Peter is asking, do I recommend updating WordPress as soon as there is an update? It kind of depends, Peter. It really depends on the other software that you are using on your site. If you have a wide variety of different plugins that you're using on your site, you may not know whether or not it is compatible. So what you can do when there are updates available for plugins and themes down here, it will actually tell you whether they are compatible with certain versions of WordPress, and it'll provide you with the most recent version number and tell you whether it is known to be compatible with that version or not. Now, that compatibility is something that is provided by the author of the plugin. So it would be the author of the plugin claiming for it to be compatible. It's not a guarantee. However, if it says it's compatible, chances are it should be. So when a new version of WordPress becomes available, you basically want to consider whether the other software you're using on that site, your plugins and your theme, whether that software is going to be compatible with the new version of WordPress or not. And really, sometimes it can vary. WordPress can issue new updates and new versions all the time, and it might not break any of your plugins ever. But then all of a sudden they might come out with a new version and it could break every single plugin that you have. It really just depends on what changes have been made in the new WordPress version. So in terms of that uncertainty, that is why WordPress recommends to always make a backup of your database and your files. That way, if you did go ahead and update WordPress as soon as a new version was released, if you found that, say, a plugin on your site wasn't compatible with that new version, instead of waiting for the developer to release a new version so it fixes your site, you could simply restore your backups. And then you would be back on the old version of WordPress that was still compatible with your software. So the backups are done to ensure that you don't mess up your site, basically. When you're involved in a situation where you might not know if the software on your site is going to be compatible with the new WordPress version or not. George is asking, yeah, I'm going to have to look into that, George. That may be something, has that been doing that for a while, or was that something that just recently started happening? He said one of my plugins asked to be updated every day. Azon actually recently released a new version for that, so it's possible it could be something with that is causing that to happen. You don't have to continue downloading it every day, though. Just look at the actual version number that it says is available and compare it with your current version. Okay, so it has been doing it a while. Okay, I'll definitely check into that, George. I was not aware that it kept mentioning that. But yes, just compare the, it'll, like in this WordPress update list, it should tell you you have version such and such installed, and then it says update to version, and then it'll provide you with another number. You should be able to, look and see if those version numbers match. And if they do match, then there's probably no reason to perform that update. Let's see. Mike is asking, what do I use to backup? I actually do my backups through Control Panel. Now it's a little bit of a process and requires some extra explanation and everything. If you look at the guidebook for tonight and scroll almost all the way to the end of it, it's probably the second to last page in tonight's guidebook. I provided a link to my cPanel training webinar where you can get the ebook and the video from that webinar completely free, nothing to buy here. And it will teach you my preferred method of backing up these sites in that training there. I figured since I had already done that particular training before, and I thought it might just be simply more worthwhile to reference that there, because if I tried to sum it up for you here in just a few minutes or so, I definitely wouldn't explain it as well as I had done in that previous training. Nicole's asking, do I show which kind of plugins I use? Yeah, I went over that, was it last week? I want to say it was last week, Nicole. Really the main plugin that I'm using on all of my Amazon affiliate sites, at least, is SEO Ultimate. This is what I use for it just controls a lot of general SEO type of stuff on your site. That SEO settings box that was on my post and page editor windows, those SEO settings all come from this particular plugin. So these are just things that I feel like are essential SEO methods or ways of adding certain types of code to each of your page that I feel like is needed to get decent search engine rankings, and it's not stuff that is included by default in the WordPress system. So I definitely recommend using this particular plugin on all of your sites, or you could also use all-in-one SEO. SEO Ultimate is simply my preference, just what I've used for many years. Now, in addition to this one plugin, Nicole, other plugins that I use can vary from one site to the next. If I need to use any PHP programming on a site, for example, I'll use a plugin called ExecPHP. I will often use a plugin to help me with Google. In terms of the Google Webmaster Tools and having a sitemap generated for your site, I use a plugin for that as well. But I'll actually be getting to some of the other plugins that I use on these sites as I progress through this training. For example, when I get to the advertising building portion of this training, then I will be installing all of my WordPress plugins, the 5 Amazon plugins that I provided all of you guys with as part of this training program. So in that lesson, for example, I will be talking about installing and setting up and using all of those plugins. And then there's at least one other time during this series when I get to doing the Google Webmaster Tools type of stuff, I will be adding in another plugin, but that part has not been missed yet. So in previous lessons, the only thing I really talked about in terms of installing plugins is this SEO Ultimate. There's one other one if you want to have something that keeps track of your keyword density as you're writing your pages, for example. You can try one called keyword statistics, and it will actually calculate your 1-word, 2-word, and 3-word keyword density numbers and percentages for you. However, I recommend like disabling the automatic calculation feature of that particular plugin, because if you start to build pages that are like over 1,000 words worth of content or something like that, that keyword statistics plugin will slow things down quite a bit. Yeah, Mike, that's the Google stuff I was talking about just a second ago, Google Analytics and the Webmaster Tools and stuff. I have a particular lesson that I'm going to be talking about that stuff during, and there are some plugins that I use for that that I'll be going over with you guys in a little more detail as we progress here in just a couple of weeks or so. Okay, let's see. Peter is asking, so the only way to roll back, I guess, to a previous version of WordPress is to reinstall from a backup. Technically, yes. You could attempt to do it other ways. However, that's the only surefire way. Essentially, if you have a WordPress site, and a new WordPress version is released, if you were to simply automatically update that site, and then you realized, hey, I need to roll back to the last version of WordPress because it's not working with my plugins properly. If you simply went and downloaded a copy of the old version of WordPress and overwrote the files in the public HTML folder, then the software on your site would be a previous version of WordPress, but the place where you would most likely run into problems is with the actual website itself and the information that's saved into the database. So in reality, it's really your database information that is the most important part of your WordPress site. That's really the unique part of it. You can replicate your WordPress version and all the plugins and themes you have installed on a site by simply using the files that are in the public HTML directory. But then all of the actual content that is built on a site is all located within the database. And there's only some minor exceptions to that, like if you upload images through that Add Media button on the post or the Pages screen, or even through this media section right here. Those images or videos get uploaded into the public HTML portion of your site. So those uploaded files would not get transferred over without the actual file backup. But in addition, or beyond that, the database is actually the main unique part of a WordPress site. So I guess the simple answer to your question is yes. The only way to roll back completely without possibility of experiencing any problems is to use a backup. In a worst case scenario, you could, if your site was doomed without it, you could attempt to upload the old WordPress version files to your site and keep your fingers crossed and hope that there were not major changes or things different in your database that might cause it to mess up. But I would not want to be in a situation where I was attempting that. it could really go either way. It could end up just fine, or it could end up messing things up even more potentially. A plugin for grammar. No, I can't think of anything like that, Nicole, or at least not something that I've used. If there's a particular plugin that you may need, or for a specialized purpose or something, definitely go into your plugins list here and just go to Add New and just type in something. You could type in like grammar right here, and hey, there's a proofread bot, good grammar and style, but you never know whether these plugins, they're supposed to be free plugins. Sometimes they'll give it to you for free and then try to hook you into actually paying for it to get full features or something. But for a lot of basic types of needs, especially common things that people might want to do with their WordPress sites that isn't necessarily specific to Amazon sites, just look in the plugins that are available here, and you may be able to find something that could help you out with a particular need or situation or something. It looks like there may actually be a couple of possibilities. Pro Writing Aid and Proofread Bot look to kind of be the two that stand out to me immediately as potential possibilities. You're quite welcome. Can you make a new page and put it on the second menu that is not on the home menu? Let's see. Are you referring to like a menu over here on the right, Mike? Or are you talking about the secondary menu that is on the top? Are you talking about like the secondary navigation right here, for example? I could switch these, and I'm pretty sure this theme, okay, I'm pretty sure this secondary navigation, I think it shows up directly below it, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, that's showing up at the top. Okay, this is the default one. It looks like their secondary menu actually shows up at the top of the page up here. Mobile navigation, that would definitely not do it. There may be a way to change the position of that secondary navigation. I would look through this Weaver 2 admin, all the different tabs that are available here. It's quite possible in the menu they may have a way to change that. It's hard to say. They do, well, it looks like you can move the primary menu to the top. And the second, oh, that just switches them. That just switches them back and forth. So the primary would be up on the top, and the secondary would be below the header area. However, it's possible if you wanted to create two different menus, if you wanted one right here and then a second one that would run underneath it, it's possible that could be done through widgets and a custom menu. It would really just depend on the different widget locations available. I've never tested doing that myself, so I can't 100% say for sure without trying it that it would work or not. But But yeah, it does look like there's a couple different options there. At least you could have two different menus, one up here on the top and one on the bottom. Oh, I I believe I've covered everything for tonight so far, guys. At this point in the training, you should feel pretty comfortable with WordPress, and you should already have your WordPress site set up on a domain name that you have selected for your Amazon niche. I've had a couple of people out of you Amazon training guys who have contacted me recently, and you've been asking if I had a way that I could spend some personal time with you, one-on-one time to help you figure out a niche or a target keyword phrase or what domain name you want to select. In terms of, for these Amazon sites, some of you have said that, maybe you're a little bit stuck on some of the previous lessons and you haven't been able to decide on which niche you want to pursue or which keyword phrase you want to target or, which domain name to register. So I've decided to offer, at least for the time being, some private webinars for those of you that are interested, and I've tried to make these insanely affordable, at least compared with, like what I might make on one of these group webinars, for example. I'm not trying to charge, something absurd, $500 an hour. I'm actually offering a hour and a half private webinar for just $97. If you have any interest in some of that private one-on-one time with me, down at the bottom of the page where I keep all of the ebooks and videos for this Amazon Masterclass, I have a PayPal link down at the bottom there, and you can schedule it for any day or any time you would like. Yes, Nicole. For the time being, at least for you Amazon guys, I have no problem making that one-on-one time available at any point during this training. When I offered it to my newsletter publicly, I limited that offer to 48 hours or something, I believe. But for all of you guys, it was really something I created for all of you and not just for my general newsletter. So it is something that I will continue to offer at that one price for you guys throughout this particular series. Is it possible to make a slideshow in the header? Yes, I believe it is. It would probably be something that a theme would be capable of doing. If I'm not, I keep wanting to think that Weaver has a way to do it. Either that or it was the old version of Weaver, the original Weaver. Let me look through here some of these options real quick. I'm not seeing it standing out, at least. I'm kind of wanting to say that they had a way that not to where you would be on one page. Yeah, I'm trying to do something without coding here, Nicole. Something that would just be like a simple option that you could change that would allow you to do that. I keep thinking that Weaver had a way to where if you had a header image up here, it wouldn't necessarily, like as you're viewing the page, it wouldn't rotate through the images, but as you view different pages on the site, it might show you a different image up at the top. Okay, so yeah, here it is, random. Now, I guess the problem with this is that it's going to be randomly selecting from these images here and not necessarily custom images that you have provided. So it would just randomly pick one of these different images to show up at the top. You could find where these images are within that theme and replace them with a different image. Call it the same, give it the same file name, and then this would actually randomly rotate through all of those new images. Would probably be the easiest non-coding way to go about doing that. Sure, go for it, Will. What you got there? Is that verses in between there? I'm trying not to say what that actually is. I try not to share that type of stuff. Yeah, replace the images. Yeah, in cPanel or through FTP. Let me open FTP real quick. Maybe I could find where that's located real fast here. I would think it would be in WP content and themes. Let me go back real quick. I'm in public HTML of a site here that I'm on. This is the Down Comforter Guide site. So I'm going into WP content and then into themes and then into Weaver 2 and let's see, possibly in the images here. Headers, images, and then headers, I think. Yes, this looks correct. What you would want to do is actually replace Antique, not the thumbnail ones, but the other ones. Antique Ivory, Grand Teton, Moon, Mum, Ocean Birds, what's that, Cypress? Sunset, and Wheat. Replace each of these different JPEG files. Essentially just delete them and provide your own JPEG file by that same exact name and put them in this particular folder, and then WordPress Weaver here would randomly loop through those different images for you without you having to actually do any special coding or whatever to accomplish that. Let's see. Will. I keep thinking your first word there. Isn't that something that goes on top of the second word? If that makes sense. You're very welcome, Pat. Thank you as well. Thanks for your comments. And hope to see you next week. Yeah, I see what you mean. It does create the question. Yeah, it's a good point, because there are a lot of people that don't know, I guess, what it... Oh, wow. That really that much? That's pretty good. And low competition. Thank you, Randy. Hope you have a good night. Good to see you again.